The fluorescent lights of Cross Industries hummed as Zara Vex pressed the elevator button for the 20th floor. Her fingers gripped the leather portfolio tightly. Inside were marketing reports she'd perfected all weekend. She knew what awaited her upstairs, the same cold reception that had become her Monday morning ritual for 2 years. Beneath the skin tone modifier on her wrist, Zara's natural violet skin remained hidden. She was Etherian, sent to Earth to study human workplace hierarchies and power dynamics. Her people had evolved beyond such toxic systems, and the Etherian Institute wanted to understand why humans tolerated them. What Zara hadn't anticipated was that studying cruelty would hurt so much. That Damien Cross himself would become the most confusing subject of her research. The elevator doors opened, revealing sleek marble floors. Through glass offices, colleagues hunched over desks, trying to appear busy before the storm arrived. Damien Cross's corner office was a testament to his position as CEO of Manhattan's most successful tech firm. At 37, he'd built Cross Industries from a startup into a billion-dollar empire. His reputation for perfection was legendary, as was his complete lack of patience. Zara knocked twice. Enter. One word, somehow both bored and annoyed, she stepped inside. Damien sat behind his massive desk, morning sun streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows behind him. He didn't look up, his dark hair perfectly styled, charcoal suit without a wrinkle. Everything about him screamed control. The quarterly reports, Zara said, placing the portfolio on his desk. Her voice stayed steady despite the familiar anxiety. Damien finally lifted his gaze, steel-gray eyes scanning her face briefly before dropping to the portfolio. For several minutes, only the rustle of pages broke the silence. The Morrison account projections are off, Damien said flatly. You've miscalculated quarterly growth by 2%. Zara's heart sank. She'd checked those numbers 5 times. Sir, I used data from the finance department. Then finance is wrong. He closed the portfolio with a snap that made her flinch. Fix it. And next time, don't waste my time with incomplete work. Heat flooded Zara's cheeks as she reached for the portfolio. This was how it always went. No matter how hard she worked, Damien always found something wrong. And he never missed an opportunity to make her feel small, incompetent, invisible. I'll have corrections by noon, she whispered. See that you do. He'd already returned to his tablet, dismissing her without another glance. Zara left with measured steps, refusing to let tears fall until she reached the restroom. Inside a stall, she let out a shaky breath. 2 years of this treatment, and she still let it get to her. She was better than this, smarter than this, more capable than he ever acknowledged. So why did she stay? The answer was complicated. Cross Industries looked impressive on a resume. The salary was competitive. And somewhere deep down, Zara harbored stubborn determination to prove herself to Damien Cross, to make him see she had value, that she deserved respect. She returned to her desk and spent the morning correcting the projections. Damien had been right, finance had made an error. The realization only made her feel worse. He was always right, and she was always scrambling to keep up. At 6 o'clock, Zara finally shut down her computer. The office had emptied hours ago. Most people had learned that staying late did nothing to impress Damien. He valued results, not dedication. The evening air hit her face as she stepped outside, cool and refreshing. She stood on the sidewalk, letting city sounds wash over her, cars honking, people rushing past, street lights flickering to life. Zara. She turned at the familiar voice, a genuine smile breaking across her face for the first time that day. Ethan Matthews stood by a sleek car, his sandy hair slightly mussed, his easy grin as warm as she remembered from childhood. Ethan, she breathed, walking toward him. They'd grown up in the same neighborhood, she'd integrated into his foster family when she first arrived on Earth. They'd shared countless summers building forts and dreaming about the future. Then life had pulled them apart. Surprise, he said, opening his arms. Zara didn't hesitate, stepping into his embrace. His hug was solid, comforting, everything her day had lacked. I'm back in the city for a few months, Ethan explained. Thought I'd take a chance you'd still be at the same company. You remembered where I work? I remember everything about you. Ethan's eyes held familiar kindness. You look exhausted. Rough day? Zara laughed without humor. My boss is particularly talented at making me feel like a failure. Ethan's jaw tightened. That's not okay. You're brilliant, Zara. You always have been. The simple affirmation made her throat tight with emotion. When had Damien ever acknowledged anything positive? Come on, Ethan said, gesturing to his car. Let me buy you dinner. We have years to catch up on. Over pasta and wine at a small Italian restaurant, they fell back into old rhythms. Ethan made her laugh with stories about his architecture work. Zara found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in months. I missed this, she admitted as they walked back toward her apartment later. The wine had lowered her usual guards. Missed having someone who just gets me. Ethan stopped under a street lamp. I missed you too. More than you know. Something in his eyes made Zara's breath catch. Before she could process it, Ethan leaned down and kissed her. Gentle, tentative, asking rather than demanding, and Zara, lonely, tired, desperate to feel valued, kissed him back. Neither noticed the black town car that had pulled up across the street. Neither saw the man in the back seat, gray eyes fixed on them with an intensity bordering on violence. Damien Cross's hands gripped the leather armrest until his knuckles turned white. His jaw clenched as he watched Zara kissing another man. Something dark and possessive roared to life in his chest, something he'd kept locked away for years. Jealousy, raw and consuming, flooded through him with a force that left him breathless, and in that moment, watching Zara smile up at the man who held her, Damien realized with horrifying clarity that he'd made a terrible mistake, that he'd spent 2 years pushing her away, keeping her at distance with cruelty and coldness, convincing himself it was necessary, that getting close to anyone was weakness he couldn't afford. But seeing her in someone else's arms shattered that illusion completely. Damien Cross wanted Zara Vex. And he'd just realized it far too late. Morning light filtered through Damien's office windows, but he hadn't noticed the sunrise. He'd been at his desk since 4 a.m., staring at the same report without absorbing a word. The image of Zara kissing that man played on endless loop. At exactly 8:15, he heard her footsteps approaching. Good morning, Mr. Cross. I have the revised Anderson proposal. Damien looked up and, for the first time in 2 years, truly saw her. Not just as the assistant who brought reports, but as a woman. Her dark hair pulled back, a few strands framing her face. Her warm brown eyes holding a brightness that hadn't been there yesterday. She looked happy. Because of him. Because of that man. Leave it, Damien said, voice harsher than intended. He watched her flinch slightly, something in his chest constricting. Zara placed the folder on his desk and turned to leave. The quarterly reports from yesterday, Damien heard himself say. They were well done. She froze mid-step, turning back slowly with pure shock. The corrections you made were accurate, thorough. The words felt foreign, praise withheld for so long. Good work. Zara blinked. Thank you, Mr. Cross. After she left, Damien leaned back and closed his eyes. What was he doing? She clearly had someone now. Someone who made her smile the way he never had. Throughout the day, Damien watched Zara through glass walls. She moved through tasks efficiently, but there was something different. She smiled more easily, laughed at something someone said in the break room. At noon, she left the building. Damien moved to the window, jaw tightening when he saw the same man waiting by a car. Zara's face lit up when she saw him. The jealousy burned hotter. The following week was torture. Damien watched Zara leave for lunch with Ethan 3 more times. He overheard her on the phone making dinner plans. He tried to compensate by being less harsh. He stopped criticizing her reports publicly, offered praise when deserved, even asked her opinion during meetings. Zara responded with cautious surprise, like an animal kicked too many times to trust a gentle hand. On Friday afternoon, a crisis erupted. Their largest client threatened to pull their $20 million account due to a miscommunication. Damien called Zara into his office. "We have a situation. I need you to pull every communication with them for the past 6 months. Help me build a timeline of what went wrong. I'll get started immediately." "We'll be working through the weekend," Damien added, watching her carefully. "I know that's asking a lot." "It's my job, Mr. Cross." They worked side by side through Friday evening, Saturday, and into Sunday. The office was eerily quiet, just the two of them surrounded by files and screens. Damien ordered food delivered, insisted Zara take breaks, and found himself actually listening when she offered suggestions. "The breakdown happened here," Zara said late Sunday afternoon, pointing to her screen. "Their project manager sent specifications to the wrong department. Nobody caught it for 3 weeks." Damien leaned over her shoulder to read, close enough to catch her subtle floral perfume. His hand rested on her chair back, and he felt her tense at his proximity. "You're right," he said quietly. "This wasn't our fault." Zara turned her head, and suddenly their faces were inches apart. Damien saw her breath catch, saw confusion in her eyes. For a moment, neither moved. The air felt charged, electric with possibility. Then Zara's phone buzzed. Damien caught a glimpse of Ethan's name before she silenced it. "Sorry," she murmured, cheeks flushed. "That was unprofessional." "No. I was the one invading your space." They worked another hour in awkward silence before Damien finally closed his laptop. "We have what we need." As Zara gathered her things, Damien spoke again. "Zara." She turned. "Thank you for your help this weekend. You didn't have to give up your time, but you did. I appreciate it." Zara studied him for a long moment. "You're welcome, Mr. Cross." After she left, Damien sat alone as darkness fell. He'd never felt more aware of what he'd lost before ever having the chance to claim it. Monday morning, Damien successfully salvaged the client account. It should have been a victory, but he felt hollow. He called Zara into his office that afternoon. "The situation is resolved. Your work this weekend was exceptional. I'm giving you a raise and promotion to Senior Marketing Director." Zara's eyes widened. "Mr. Cross, I don't know what to say." "Say yes. You've earned it. You've earned it for a long time, and I've been too stubborn to acknowledge it." "Why now?" Her gaze was unwavering. 2 years of treating me like I was incompetent, and now suddenly I'm worthy of promotion?" Damien flinched. "Because I was wrong. Because you deserve better than how I've treated you." "Is this about Ethan?" Something flashed in her eyes, anger, maybe hurt. "Did seeing me with someone make you suddenly realize I'm a person with value?" "No." The lie tasted bitter. "Yes," he exhaled roughly. "Both. I've known you were valuable since the day you started. I just didn't know how to handle it." "That's not fair. You don't get to decide I matter only when someone else wants me." "You're right." Damien stepped closer. "Nothing about how I've treated you has been fair. I've been cruel when I should have been kind. I pushed you away because I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Of this." He gestured between them. "Of feeling something for someone who could hurt me. Of letting someone in only to have them destroy me again." Zara's expression softened slightly. "What happened to you?" Damien had never told anyone at Cross Industries about Victoria, about the betrayal that nearly cost him everything. But standing there with Zara, seeing genuine concern despite everything, the words came tumbling out. He told her about his ex-fiancée, about the engagement and lies, about discovering she'd been feeding confidential information to competitors. About spending months rebuilding, about the decision to never let anyone close again. I'm sorry that happened, Zara said quietly. But it doesn't excuse how you treated me. I know. And I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking for a chance to do better. For me or for yourself? I don't know anymore. Maybe both. Zara picked up her portfolio. I need time to think. About the promotion. About everything. She was almost to the door when she paused. Damien. First time she'd used his first name. The man you saw me with is Ethan. We grew up together. He's kind and patient, and he sees me as someone worth caring about. Damien's hands clenched. I see that too. Now isn't good enough. I spent 2 years waiting for you to see me. I'm not going to drop everything just because you finally opened your eyes. After she left, Damien understood true regret. He had power to buy anything, build anything, command anyone. But the one thing he wanted, Zara's trust, Zara's affection, might be the one thing his power couldn't buy. That evening, Zara met Ethan for dinner. Over wine, he studied her face. Sophie, are you listening? She blinked. Sorry. Yes. You've been distracted a lot lately. Ethan set down his fork. I need to know where we stand. I feel like you're only half here with me. That's not true. Isn't it? I see the way you talk about him. Your boss, Damien. There's something there, even if you won't admit it. He was horrible to me for 2 years, Ethan. Was. Past tense. Ethan took her hand. People can change. I'm not blind. I see how he looks at you now. And more importantly, I see how you look at him when you think no one's watching. Tears pricked Zara's eyes. I don't know what I feel. Then figure it out. Ethan's voice cracked. Because I love you. I've loved you since we were kids. But I won't be the safe choice you settle for because you're too scared to take a risk on something real. I'm sorry. You deserve better than that. Ethan squeezed her hand before letting go. So do you. Don't settle for safe, Zara. Not even if it's with me. They finished dinner in heavy silence. At her door, Ethan kissed her forehead gently. Take your time. But know this, whatever you decide, I want you to be happy. Even if it's not with me. Zara watched him drive away, then went inside and cried. For the friendship she might be losing. For the simplicity slipping away. For the impossible choice she was being forced to make. And somewhere across the city, Damien sat alone in his penthouse, staring at the city lights, wondering if he destroyed his only chance at happiness before it had even begun. The next morning, Zara arrived to find Damien waiting by her desk, looking nervous, a state she'd never seen him in. Do you have a moment? She followed him into his office. Instead of sitting behind his desk, he gestured to the sitting area, taking the chair across from her. I need to show you something. He pulled out architectural plans. Do you remember the community center project you proposed 6 months ago? The one I rejected? Zara did remember. She'd suggested cross-industry sponsor a technology center in an underprivileged neighborhood. Damien had dismissed it as financially irresponsible. I was wrong, Damien said quietly. About a lot of things, but especially about this. I've been working with architects. The center breaks ground next month, and I want you to oversee the entire project. Zara stared at the plans, vision blurring with tears. Why? Because you were right. Because giving back matters more than profit margins. He leaned forward. Because you make me want to be the kind of man who deserves someone like you. Damien. I'm not asking for anything. I know you're with Ethan. I know I don't have the right to ask you to choose me. But I need you to know that you changed me fundamentally. Whether or not you ever forgive me, I'm going to spend the rest of my life being the man I should have been from the start. He broke up with me last night, Zara said quietly. Damien's expression flickered between hope and concern. I'm sorry. Don't be. He told me I was using him as the safe choice. That I was too scared to risk my heart on something that might hurt me. She looked up. He was right. Zara. There's something else you should know. Something important about who I really am. She deactivated her skin modifier. The change rippled across her body, skin shifting from human beige to luminous violet. Damien's eyes widened with shock and wonder. I'm not human, Zara said steadily. I'm Etherian. From a planet called Etheria. I came here to study human workplace dynamics. But everything I feel for you, that's real. Damien stared, then slowly reached out, fingers tracing her violet cheek. You're purple. Very observant. And you trusted me enough to show me. His voice filled with awe. Zara, I don't care what you are. You're the woman who changed my life. The woman I love. When he kissed her, it felt like coming home. Zara melted into him, 2 years of denial dissolving in the heat of his touch. But the next morning brought consequences. Damien's head of security called urgently. Sir, Marcus Webb from Titan Corp has evidence of Miss Vex's unusual biometrics. He's threatening to go public unless you sell him your shares in the expansion project. Marcus Webb went public within 24 hours. Headlines screamed, CEO's girlfriend is actually alien. The media frenzy was instantaneous. The board called an emergency meeting. Through it all, Damien stood beside Zara. I'm calling a press conference, he told his board. The conference was held in Cross Industries' lobby. Damien stood at the podium, Zara beside him with violet skin exposed. I'm here to make several announcements, Damien began. First, yes, Zara is Etherian, an extraterrestrial researcher who came to Earth peacefully. She is not a threat. Second, I'm in love with her. And third, if this board cannot accept that, I will step down as CEO. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. My board has demanded I end this relationship to protect the company. But I choose love over power. I choose her. He turned to Zara. Will you stay with me? Not because of work, but because you want to? Tears streamed down her violet face. Yes. Always yes. The board ultimately backed down, Damien was too valuable to lose. But Zara's recall notice arrived, return for reprogramming or accept permanent exile. On a quiet morning in Damien's penthouse, Zara stood with her communicator. What do you want to do? Damien asked softly. I choose exile, Zara said. I choose Earth. I choose you. She deactivated the communicator permanently. They built a new life together. The community center opened to great success. Damien's transformation from cruel boss to compassionate leader became legendary. And Zara became his partner in every sense, business and personal. Any regrets? Damien asked one night, holding her close. None, Zara whispered. You're worth every world I left behind. And in that moment, wrapped in love that had survived cruelty, jealousy, and the distance between planets, they proved that even the coldest hearts can thaw. And sometimes, watching someone you love in another's arms is exactly what you need to realize what you've been too afraid to claim.